deep dive into the criminal history of the man police say killed 3 innocent people at random outside of a North Austin Target this week. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jennifer Sanders. Daniel has the night off. Police arrested 32-year-old Ethan Nineker, and our Brianna Hollis taps into his previous arrests this evening.
Gunshots and people running for their lives.
The actions of the suspect showed a complete disregard for human life, and the pain caused will be felt by our community for years to come.
Well, how did he get a gun? How did he get a gun that day?
Questions surfacing in the wake of tragedy. An afternoon at the Target on Research Boulevard and Olin Road turned deadly for 3 people Monday. Target employee Hector Leopoldo Martinez Machucu and 65-year-old Adam Chow and his 4-year-old granddaughter.
So we took an even deeper dive into Nineker's criminal history. We saw a misdemeanor assault family violence conviction in 2016. The most recent case, another assault family violence arrest in 2019, but that was ultimately dismissed in 2022 because the courts were unable to locate the victim.
And so when you have a family violence finding on your record, you're prohibited from owning firearms under federal law for the remainder of your life.
Defense attorney Benjamin Gergen, who isn't involved in this case, says it's impossible for the courts to keep tabs on whether convicts have guns or not. Police say Nineker got the gun he used from a family member. Police Chief Lisa Davis also repeatedly mentioned he struggled long-term with his mental health.
When you're dealing with someone with these issues, where does someone with this capacity to do this get a weapon, and when does a family member feel comfortable giving someone with these issues a weapon?
A lot of people have mental health issues and don't go kill grandparents and their grandchildren at Target at 3 in the afternoon.
Brianna Hollis, KXAN News.
And Nineker faces 1 count of first-degree murder and 2 counts of capital murder. He hasn't gone before a judge to enter a plea just yet, and attorney information is not yet listed for Nineker. Once that changes, we of course will reach out. Texas is targeting the maker of popular weight loss drugs. Texas is suing Eli Lilly, accusing the company of bribery related to weight loss drugs. A news release from the Attorney General's office claims the company offered, quote, illegal incentives to medical providers like free nurses and reimbursement support services. And in exchange, they prescribed 2 of Eli Lilly's most profitable weight loss drugs. The Attorney General said that's in violation of the Texas Healthcare Program Fraud Prevention Act. We did reach out to the drug maker for a response. We have not yet received a reply, but once we do, we'll include that in our story at KXAN.com. The state's first special session likely to come to an end this week as House Democrats are still outside the state preventing a quorum. Speaker of the House Dustin Burrows says if they don't return on Friday, they'll adjourn and then immediately start a new session. State Capitol reporter Adam Schwager discusses the latest update and more.
For the 9th straight day,
the roll has been called, and again, a quorum is not present.
Texas House Democrats have shut down the entire House by not showing up. Special sessions in Texas can only last 30 days, so the current session would expire in the middle of next week. However, if Democrats don't show up, Speaker of the House Dustin Burrows and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick say they'll deem the session over, with Governor Greg Abbott calling a second session which would expire in mid-September.
Why has the Lieutenant Governor and Speaker not pledged that any bill ever written by any one of these Democrats is dead on arrival?
Republican Representative Brian Harrison has been uniquely critical of his colleagues and represents a growing base of the party who wants to see the Democrats more heavily punished.
So you've been Republicans all along to do that?
Right now, Abbott and Attorney General Ken Paxton have filed to vacate some of the quorum breakers from their elected seats. The Supreme Court's expedited briefing schedule still sets the last deadline on September 4th.
If they can stay gone until the end of November, then probably these maps can't be operative for the midterms.
Jessica Huseman is the editorial director at VoteBeat. She says the Democrats could kill the maps if they hold out for the next 3.5 months, if the March 3rd primary date holds.
We could delay the midterms. That is within the authority of the legislature. So is there a deadline? Not really.
Huseman says election officials will need several months in between whenever the primary takes place and November's general election, which can't be changed. In Austin, I'm Adam Schwager.
Giving some depth here, after the House failed to meet quorum, the Texas Senate met to take votes, including votes on flooding and redistricting. And when State Senator Jose Menendez made a request that the Senate take up disaster bills, 9 Senate Democrats symbolically walked out. The new map passed the Senate 19-2, but would require a new vote if the special session is restarted. Tomorrow, Austin City Council could sign off on its budget and set a property tax rate that, because of state law, ultimately triggers an election in November. There are new proposals on the table as late as tonight over how much the city should ask voters for in that tax rate election and what services should be funded. The latest coming from a group of council members, including Ryan Alter.
We have recently put forward a proposal supported by at least 5 council members that funds homelessness, funds affordable housing, funds social services, and allows for a further conversation on refining that for an ultimate budget adoption.
And heading into tomorrow, the city has to decide which proposal it will use as its base so far. Most of those proposals sit at 5 cents per $100 of value, which for voters only means that you could pay hundreds more in property taxes next year. It's not a given. Austin City Council member Mark Duchin has indicated he will vote no on a tax rate election, and Mayor Kirk Watson has told us that he will only support a proposal that funds, quote, core basic services. So as you might imagine, there has been a lot of disagreement and debate at City Hall over this, specifically what core services need to be funded. As KXAN's Grace Reeder explains, one of the only services that won't be up for much debate tomorrow is homelessness.
I became homeless after I lost my husband.
People who have been or are homeless are urging the city of Austin to prioritize that issue as it votes on its budget this week.
It's people that's out here that's trying to get back on their feet, and we should have the services that we need to get back on our feet.
Earlier this year, the city's Homeless Strategy Office released a funding plan to be worked into this year's budget process. They identified more than $100 million in needs, a third of that to continue existing programs that have previously been paid for with one-time funding, a third for new investments, and the final third for working with partners.
But we haven't funded it. And so what I really want us to prioritize and what I want to see a real emphasis on is, now that we have the plan, let's use that plan. Let's fund that plan.
As city leaders consider raising property taxes to a point that would trigger a tax rate election, that sentiment is nearly universal among city council members.
We know that as a city, we need to do more to address homelessness, and we want to invest in the entire system. That's preventing people from becoming homeless all the way to supportive housing on the back end.
If Austin leaders do ask voters for more money in November, it's very likely to, in part, go toward things like emergency shelter operations, including keeping the Marshalling Yard homeless shelter running and doing more outreach.
When it comes to the TRE, there are folks who call it regressive. But in Austin, I believe that caring for each other is a strength and not a weakness.
Grace Reeder, KXAN News.
Austin City Council member Mark Duchin was the only council member who did not have homelessness funding in his proposal. He pointed to other cities like Houston that paid for those services using outside dollars.